Hello and welcome to the Literary Lair. Sorry for the unexplained hiatus. I've been working on building a new sonic screwdriver. The old one, broke. And this one is completely sit-proof. Not that I would be dumb enough to sit on it, but anyway, let's talk about something urgent. Last year, in the last week of January, I created the new site for Black Scarab Films, and I made my first review. It wasn't a book review, it was a review of Quantum Leap, the TV show. Because that was on TV the entire week. I was out of school, and I had nothing better to watch. Well, it's been over a year, and time to pay tribute to the past year as I leap into Quantum Leap. What is Quantum Leap? Well, it's a show about Sam Beckett, played by Scott Bakula, a physicist that creates a machine that allows time travel. But it went a little caca. Sam can time travel, but he goes into other people's lives and has to right a wrong from the original history. His only connection to the not-too-distant future
next Sunday AD
is his friend and co-creator of the project, Admiral Al Calavici, played by Dean Stockwell. Al, however, is an insubstantial hologram. Imagine a red dwarf where the only person that could see Rimmer was Lister. Pretty much that. So Sam has to figure out what went wrong with the help of supercomputer Ziggy and make sure that it is altered for the better. Sam's mind gets messed up during the process. Due to the nature of the leaps, and to enable him to adapt to the time period, he has Swiss cheese memory. Gaps in his memory for certain events and people. All this factors into the book, so let's get to the cover. The cover is really wordy. Not as wordy as something like a comic book made by the Ultimate Warrior, but it's up there. Interesting fact, you can't see it in the picture, but the words Quantum Leap and the novel are raised. Okay, so it says, all new original adventure based on the smash hit TV series. Out of time, out of body, and out of control. And as for the picture, all the novel covers look like this. They're all Sam and Al and maybe one other person. It's kind of boring. I mean, look at something like The Fault in Our Stars. There isn't that much there, but then again, that book is all about uncertainty. It fits. Quantum Leap could use something a bit cooler than this. Now on to the story proper. The book begins in the void of the leap. The book series uses the theory where only Sam's mind leaps, not his body, so that's just a bit of trivia. A strange voice is talking to Sam, asking him if he is ready and telling him that he's not going home. Not yet. Sam comes into consciousness while the leapee is being verbally assaulted by a woman. He sees a man with a gun and grabs her and attempts to save that woman's life. All this ends up doing is causing a wall to collapse and reveal that Sam is at a carnival. And his gun was one of those Target game guns. And of course, Sam gives us his trademark.
Ah, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
He finds that he is a man called Bob, and he works at a carnival. The woman is Aileen, owner of the carnival, who Bob has a bit of a crush on, and the man with the gun is Mike McFarland, the supervisor for the new roller coaster, and who, in Al's words, is a nozzle. Al shows up, and it turns out that it's July 1957, and 23-year-old Bob Watkins is, if Sam can prevent it, going to be the scapegoat when the new roller coaster, the Killer Diller, derails and kills 7 people in 4 days. Sam also finds that Bob had polio as a child, which explains muscle deterioration that Sam noticed. A little girl named Bessa shows up, and she can see both Sam and Al, not seeing Bob. Sam tells her to pretend that he's Bob, and she agrees. He learns that the place is called Shaber's Fun World, and is run by Aileen Shaber and Jesse Bartlett, partner of the original owner, who has a history of bad business decisions. Carl Shaber, the original owner, died a few weeks ago, and the carnival was on its way to decline already, but his death made it worse. Aileen hopes the new coaster will pay the bills. Sam still needs to figure out what causes the crash and stop it before it's too late. Only problem is that the town is so small, there isn't a lot of info on it in the future. Sam is told to help with the pony rides, and he helps the guy who runs it, Dusty, who believes that Bob may be psychic, by bringing the receipts to Aileen. Meanwhile, Al talks with Bessa, trying to explain the future to her without divulging too much. The handling starts to crap out, and Al returns back to talk with Bob in Sam's body. He goes to find out why the handling broke by going to Tina, the hardware specialist, and his girlfriend. But finds, as a result of a fight they had over something silly, she took lead. And to make things worse, Ziggy blows a circuit and the lights start to go out. The big issue that if Ziggy's lights go out, Ziggy dies. And if Ziggy dies, so do their chances of ever finding Sam again. So, that's bad. Sam, meanwhile, heads over to Aileen's house to give her the receipts and finds that she's out having lunch with the head of the bank to pay for the coaster and numerous bills by getting a loan. Her Aunt Vera invites him in and they eat and talk, as Bob was taken in by Vera and Carl when his mother died in 1949. Sam leaves and talks with Al, finding that the accident was actually a murder. Someone deliberately sabotages the coaster, and they have to race against time to find out who. The book reveals to us that Jesse's family was rich before the Great Depression, and he was given help from Carl when he needed it. Jesse got pretty screwed over in Carl's will. Carl never treated Jesse like an employee until the will, which he was left out of. It turns out there's insurance on the coaster, which could come in handy if there was an accident, you know. Sam tries his hardest to stop Aileen from opening the coaster and learns that Bob was supposed to ride it, but in the original history, didn't for some reason. But Aileen agrees to let him go on the final safety check with McFarland, who's a jerk to Sam when Bob fails at fixing a cotton candy machine. Al returns with news that there are only 3 possible suspects for who sabotaged the coaster: Jesse, McFarland, and Sam, by accident. Sam maintains that if he stops it from starting, he'll stop the accident. So he tries to jam the coaster so it'll break before starting, but all that gets him is a threat of order of commitment from Jesse. And because this takes place after shock theater, Sam never wants to be in a mental institution ever again. Back at Quantum Leap, Tina returns to help save Ziggy, and Al muses on what would have happened if he never helped with Project Quantum Leap. At the carnival, Sam fears the asylum, remembering his terrible experience in shock theater. Al returns and tells Sam that the culprit's either Jesse or McFarland, but Ziggy doesn't know who. Sam tells Al to look up Jesse, and Sam checks up on McFarland. McFarland built a bunch of coasters and seems harmless. Jesse, however, due to the whole screwed over in the will and his public hatred of the coaster, all searches point toward him. Al returns to the future to find that Ziggy has been buying parts to build himself up without human interference. Oh no! Ziggy's Skynet! Sam goes through Jesse's things to find the roller coaster blueprints labeled impossible. Sam goes after Jesse to try to stop him, but can't find him, and time is running out. To make matters worse, no one believes Sam when he tells them about Jesse's plans. Al tells Sam to attack Jesse so he can't sabotage the coaster, but that just gets Sam thrown in jail. Vera brings Sam food and tells him that she believes that he saw something, but she doesn't know what he saw. Sam gets out of jail soon enough to see McFarland switch places with Jesse, and McFarland holding a bolt in his pocket, meaning McFarland is the killer. Sam attacks him, and during the fight, Al tells him that McFarland is a psychopath that loves watching people die in terrible ways. He wrestles the bolt away, but the coaster's already started. Sam gets to the place where the bolt's supposed to be, and twists it in just in time. Al tells him that Bob goes into the repair business with Jesse, and Aileen lives a happy life. And the coaster gets built better and brings in a lot of people. Sam helps Bessa win a prize, and then he leaves. Back in the void, the voice from the beginning tells Sam that he'll get home someday, but not today. So that was Quantum Leap the novel, or as the UK called it, Carney Knowledge, because Bob was a carny. A great novel based on a great TV show. And I'm going to tell you something. Quantum Leap is one of my favorite shows of all time. Because it's not really a science fiction show. If you really think about it, it's just a show. And that's why I like it. Anyway, time for me to go relax a bit. Put you in here. Okay, time to put that away. And next week, I will tackle you.